Welcome. This is Shakti Carola Navran, and I'm an evolutionary astrologer. I call Maui home, and I do a lot of astrology forecasts and readings for people. So today I want to talk a little bit about what you can expect from astrology and what it's actually good for, and what not to expect. So first of all, what not to expect: astrology is not really predicting the future. So I'm not a fortune teller. I don't say, woo, 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 this is going to happen for you. We're going to get married, divorce, die, or whatever. So in my experience, and I've been doing astrology for 40 years, you can't predict the future. Because the whole point in being a human is that we have free will. It's all about growing and raising consciousness to a higher level. So what you can expect astrology to do are to help you in two areas. So first of all, if you get a personal reading about your birth chart, which is kind of your blueprint, your map you came in with for this lifetime. So when you have a look at your chart, you will get a very precise look at your karma, because the chart will give you where you left things off and will tell you what's your spiritual destiny, what was your goal for this lifetime as an eternal soul you are. So you came in with certain challenges and potentials, and you signed up to grow and heal and get ready for the next step in your personal evolution. So your personal birth chart can give you very precise and exact information what it is really about for you in this lifetime. So we can look at your professional qualifications, and whenever we are really in alignment with our issues, our intention for this life, and we make it into our professional expression, then we first of all feel very satisfied about what we're doing, but we probably will also really be very successful, and we really use most of our time to grow what we came in for. So you might have heard that Chinese curse, may you only make money. So I think that's the worst thing if you just have a job to pay the bills. So it's really important that you do have a job, a professional outlet for who you are as more of a totality. And then we love to get up. We can't wait to get to work and do what we want to do. So the personal chart can give us a lot of information about what we call right livelihood. So that's very helpful. Then it can give you a lot of information about your love life, your relationships, what you're looking for, what you're attracting into your field, so what you're comfortable with. So a lot of that information is in your birth chart. And then we can look at your karma. We can look at where did you leave things off and what's really ultimate purpose in this lifetime. Hi, Alison. Good to see you. So anyway, it's a wonderful thing to have these 2-hour readings to really get a sense of the bigger picture you came in with, and look at yourself from the soul perspective, which will connect the dots about who you know yourself to be in a new and different way. So it's very profound. So the personal chart is one thing we do in astrology, and then is the whole area of forecasts. And again, it's not about predictions, but forecasts are those actualizations we all have and go through. So I always say, imagine those gods and goddesses representing the planetary energies. Imagine them coming knock at your door. So it's a good image to hold. Of course, we don't expect Venus as a goddess sitting on the cloud up there, but it's a good image to hold that there are certain intentions, certain frequencies coming into our life. And then we need to deal with that. At certain times in our lives, there's certain things up in the air. And when I do personal forecasts for people, I look a year ahead. And just because you kind of know what it is about in the coming year, you have better ways to make decisions. You're kind of prepared. You know, oh, this year it's about relationship, and this year it's about advancing and growing in my professional life. And it gets more specific than that. So it's really, really super helpful to do a personal forecast. I usually do it as a follow-up when I did the birth chart. So then we look into the evolutionary perspective and where are you with all the potentials you came in for this lifetime. But then I also do a lot of general forecasts. So I do usually the new moon, the full moon. I do little daily 1-minute preparations for where the moon is, what's your emotional set point for the day. And they're kind of really helpful. I've heard from clients that they do it in the morning with their cup of coffee and they get prepared for the day, which is really nice. I love to hear that. And then I do a weekly forecast. I do that on Saturday at 1 p.m. Hawaiian Standard Time. And with that, I talk more spiritually, philosophically. I'm kind of condensing what's happening in the week into an overall theme. So it's more about what do you need to focus on in the coming week. So it's a little bit astrological talk, but it's a little more general. So just to get you set for the week and to have an idea what it is about, what's coming up. So astrology can serve you in a very personal way, and it can serve you in listening to my general forecasts. But then it's of course very helpful if you know, for example, I just launched my new moon in Aries video. So the new moon is coming up on the 27th. So then if you know where that new moon and the information I give you in my forecast, where that is happening in your personal chart, then you have an idea how and where in your life you bring in that energy, and it just will create awareness. And I call it practice astrological consciousness, because it's really a wonderful way to be mindful, a wonderful way to have an awareness of what's happening emotionally in there, what's your consciousness, what's your inner dialogue about something. And yeah, it's, for me, astrology is really a spiritual journey, and it's all about integrating and becoming more aware of deeper dimensions in myself. So I often talk about that we are a wave in the ocean. So actually Carl Jung used that image the first time, I believe. So he talks about that we all are a wave in the ocean. And he talks about the top of the wave being symbolizing our consciousness, our way, how we filter information, our intellect. And then, and he said it's 5 to 10% of the wave. And then he talks about the belly of the wave as symbolizing our unconsciousness, which is 90 to 95%, which is a lot. So our unconsciousness is where we have our childhood memories, our instincts, our drives, but also our past life memories. And then, of course, all waves are coming out of the ocean. So the ocean is characterized as a collective unconsciousness, as a morphogenetic field, as we call it nowadays in the spiritual circles. So you could also call it the divine or ultimate consciousness. So from the top of the wave, there is often a connection and an opening happening to the unconsciousness. So we tap into our own creativity and emotions. And then there are certain activations when these openings are happening in a more profound way, connecting us to our own individuality, unconsciousness, and connecting us to the ocean consciousness, where true creativity and inspiration is coming in. So when I talk about a chart, I pay a lot of attention to the position of Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, and the moon, because the moon is kind of the connection to our personal unconsciousness. So Neptune, Uranus, Pluto is connecting those channels into the divine, into something what's bigger than just our own individuality. So it's a helpful concept to hold, that it's really about lowering that distinction from me, my own sense of self and ego perspective from the top of the wave. And ultimately, it's really about lowering that point of identification to where the wave meets the ocean. This is what in all kinds of cultures was called enlightenment or waking up. So it's like, I think that's really our intention as souls in this three-dimensional world, to wake up to that. Yes, we are an individual wave in the ocean, but we also are, by definition, part of the ocean. So we have access to all that is, to infinite intelligence and consciousness. And when we do have that connection, we feel good. We feel in alignment. We feel we part of a bigger purpose of life. And that's really what astrology is, connecting us in a very conscious way, that we are so much more than just the tip of the wave. So yeah, I think that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. So make sure, if you don't have your individual birth chart, so you can correlate the forecast, the general forecast, back to your own individual birth chart, that you go to my website, mauiastrologyreading.com, and when you sign up for your newsletter, you get access, so you can create there your own birth chart. And I throw in what I call the Love Stone Report, because I'm also an expert with gemstones and the healing metaphysical quality of gemstones and how we can use them for meditation and focusing and support. And so I usually always talk about gemstones and what's a gemstone for the week or for the quality of the month. So if you love gemstones, it's a nice way to become more aware of what role and supporting role they can play in our life. Okay, if you have any questions, please, now is the time. So I'm always happy to answer questions and comments even after the live part is over. So love to hear back from you. Make sure you like and comment, so I know I'm not just talking into an empty space there. So yeah, make sure you sign up for your newsletter so I can keep you in the loop with the longer videos so you don't miss it. You can always find that see first on Facebook, so you make sure that whenever I launch something, so you get the information. Okay, my dears, aloha from Maui, namaste, and I hope to see you around.